So I want to talk to you today about something really, really important. I mean, it's paramount to any kind of leveraging of one's credit, personal credit, business credit. Maybe paramount is the wrong word. Maybe I should say mission critical. Mission critical. All right. And this is something I learned not through theory or but empirical knowledge. I actually had to figure this out through, working it out, trying to increase my credit, leverage my credit, expand the accounts that I had. I even have a course about it called the Credit Multiplier, where I teach how you can multiply your current credit situation without applying for new credit. And I teach some real ninja tactics that are, if I say so myself, quite ingenious, because many of these tactics anyone can do. Virtually anyone can do it. But I haven't found anyone that's been teaching it in the 16 years that I've been in the credit space. And to me, that is alarming because it's so simple. These tactics and steps are so simple. You can just do these. As a matter of fact, let me tell you one. All right, so, sometimes you may get a credit card offer and you accept the offer and it works out well for you. Maybe it's a Chase credit card for $20,000. You're excited about that. And 6-7 months later, you get a pre-approval offer from Chase again for another credit card. You're thinking, what? Logically, you're thinking you're going to get another $20,000. So you apply and you get approved for $1,000. Well, if you know, like I know, that $1,000 approval is going to hurt your overall credit profile because banks do what other banks do. They follow the lead of other banks. So if a big bank approves you for $20,000, and the next time you apply, if your average credit card limit over all the accounts that you have, let's say it's $15,000, you have some $20,000 limits, some $18,000 limits, some $17,000 limits. You have no limits less than $15,000. So your average is $15,000. Well, the next bank that is looking to approve you typically will approve you for about $15,000. But why did Chase approve you for $20,000 and then only gave you $1,000 on the second account? Because typically banks have a threshold over the number of cards that they offer. They have a threshold amount of how much credit they will give one person based on that person's profile. Let's say, for instance, the profile underwriting guideline is if you do not own a home. Now this is a nugget I'm about to give you that many don't even understand. If you do not own a home, the most credit we will give you over the 5 credit cards we offer at Chase is $30,000. So you could have 6 cards or 5 cards at $6,000 each. But that's the limit. That's the most that they'll give you for that guideline. If you own a home, we will give you up to $150,000 or 50% of the value of your home in credit cards over the 5 credit cards that we have. Now, I know you believe that's true because you know some people that have $50,000 limits and they have 5 or 6 cards like that, but you also know that they live in a $500,000-$600,000 house. These are some protocols and tactics and some back-end understanding that very few know about. But because I teach the wealth score, and the wealth score is based on your net worth, not your ability to repay debt. Your credit score is based on your ability to repay debt. Your wealth score is based on your net worth. And your net worth is important to bankers because they want to know when they give you all this access to this credit, where can they lien or levy against property or assets to ensure that they get their money back if you go out on a spending spree, or if you run on the bank and use Milio and some of these other turning credit into cash apps that these gurus teach you to use. And what that is they teach you how to get yourself a check, cut yourself a check, issue yourself a check off of your available credit on a credit card, and that way you turn it into cash. And this is better than actually going to get a cash advance at a bank, because now the bank obviously sees that you're using the credit card for cash, and they charge you a lot more on the interest rate for that. And also they don't like that. They look down, or they frown upon you actually using your credit card for cash. So anyway, so these banks are looking at specific guidelines as far as their underwriting to how they will approve large amounts. So what do you do with this $20,000 approval with Chase, and then this subsequent $1,000 approval? How do you multiply that, or how do you use that scenario to your advantage so other banks don't look at you and think, oh, let's only approve this applicant for 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 or 4,000, and typically you would get approved for an average of what, 15,000. So this is what you want to do. You want to call the bank, specifically the credit card that has $20,000 limit on it, and you want to first ask if there is an offer for you for any new credit with that bank. Many of us don't even know that the banks have offers in our profile that they're willing to give us if we ask, or they may suggest it to us if we call in, but sometimes they don't. So it's best to just ask, do you have any offers for me? Oh, you don't? Okay, no problem. Well, I got a $20,000 credit approval, and I would like to do some traveling, and I want to solely use this card. I don't want to use any of my other cards. If you don't like that angle, you could say, hey, you know, I got this $20,000 credit approval. I want to transfer my balances from all my other cards to this card, but I don't have enough room. Is it possible I could get an increase, a 50% increase? Don't ask for a dollar amount increase. Ask for a percentage. Why? Because the percentage doesn't seem as if you're really, really dialed in on how much the approval for the increase is, but you just need 40 or 50% more money. It's a very classy way of asking for an additional 10,000, okay, without sounding thirsty. So what about if I could get a 50% increase on my limit? And they go, oh, okay, yeah, we can do a soft inquiry, which won't impact your credit score, and we just need to ask you a couple questions. So they're going to verify that nothing's changed on your profile, your address, your phone number. And it's always good to call from the phone number that you actually have on file with them, so they can see that and know that, hey, this guy's consistent. You know, he's not moving around, jumping, you know, from phone number to phone number. Okay, so now you got that part. So they're going to say, oh, okay, we don't have a limit increase for you because you've only had this card 7 months. You remember earlier I said you probably had the card 6 to 7 months, right? So that's typical. So then you go, well, you know what? I got approved for another card, which was $1,000, and that account number ends in this, that, and the third. And I was wondering if I could get an increase on that card, because the $1,000, that was really weird how you guys, you know, all my other cards I have $15,000, $20,000 limits, and I just got $1,000 for this one. You already know the psychology of it. You don't own any real estate, and they have a threshold of how much money they will, you know, issue for specific applicants, especially ones that don't own a house, right? So you go, is it any room that maybe I could get a similar approval or an increase for a credit limit that's similar to the credit limit I have on my other card, which is $20,000? And they're gonna, you know, do the soft inquiry again, or maybe even use the same soft inquiry that they just used. Okay, and that's typical. And they'll see if they can approve you. Let's say they come back with, yeah, we got you an approval. We got you up to $6,500. That's not bad, you know, $6,500 over $1,000. Then you go, okay, that's great. But this is the tactic. This whole conversation, this whole strategy is about this tactic. So that means I have essentially 20,000 with one card with you and 6,500 with the other card. That's great. So that's 26.5. Well, you remember your average limit on all your cards across the board is 15,000. You want to keep that. So what you want to do is tell the banker, listen, hey, out of that 20,000 that I have, I would like to move 7,000 of the credit limit from that card to this card that you just increased my limit to 6,500. And what is that going to do? That's going to now make the 6,500 approval a 13,500 approval and reduce the 7,000 approval to a 13,000 approval, which then will drop your overall credit limit across all cards to about 14,000, right? And now when you continue to get approved for new cards, your new approval, follow the lead of banks, will be 13,500, 14,000, right? This is a tactic that I call the balance transfer strategy, because this will keep all of your accounts, especially the ones that you get from different banks, appearing to be the same amount you're approved for by all banks. And this will continue to induce and seduce, if I could say, other bankers to approve you for the same amount, because they follow each other's lead. No bank wants to be taken advantage of more than any other bank, so they want to keep themselves, checked and balanced off. All right. So this tactic you can do on every account that you have or you get approved for with